Welcome to the Locks and Dogs NFL Pick Podcast Week 9 edition. We've got the NFL locks and a few dogs that you need to hear, and the podcast starts right now. I'm back. This is Matt.
This is Mark.
And welcome back to the podcast. It's week 8 in the books, cruising into week 9. Mark, we got to put a bow on this week 8. Massive slate, overwhelming slate, I'm willing to say. We seem to really crush the primetime games, but we kind of struggle everywhere else. I had the Lions and the Bucks in the two primetime games. The Sunday night game, we were both on the Bears. We drank the Tyson Bagnet. What about Bagnet? Sorry, Tyson Bagent. No longer secret badge. His secret Bagent status has been revoked after he's a guy.
Yeah, his cover's been blown.
His cover's been definitely been blown. He's a guy. I mean, what's cool is I think he's earned the right to be on a roster, which for a Division II guy is a win. I think. I mean, it's already like unprecedented, and the fact that he gets to start 3 games, at least 3 games,
if not the entire rest of the year.
I think, honestly, I've seen what I need to see from this. I think, it was kind of smoke and mirrors against the mediocre Vikings defense, and then it kind of got exposed. Although he did get the epic, Velus Jones, low light with the falling down, ball still hits him in the hands, and he still manages to drop it, in the end zone. Yeah, he really couldn't have screwed that up any worse if he tried.
That'll be the meme for the 2023 Bears season.
Velus Jones, stumbling over himself.
Yes. Almost
catching the ball and then, throwing it away from hot potatoing it. Yeah, that's all I remember. So, yeah, we were both on the Bears for the Sunday night game. That was a shabacle. I was on the Lions. The back door was open for the Raiders, but they did not want to come in. I was a little worried when I saw Ruben Patterson blow that late field goal. It was like a 26-yard chip shot, and he just shanked it. I'm like, I think that means that the Raiders got life again. And no, the Raiders don't really have life. So other than that, we're both on the Eagles. Proud of that one. They managed to cover against the Skins. I was on the Jets, got the cover. We got the amazing Jets cover, overtime cover. You were on the Giants for that one. You had the nice one you were on the Vikings against the Packers. I was on the Packers. I think I'm kind of done with the Packers for a while. I got to put that team away.
Yeah, thank goodness the Vikings were able to get that win after Captain Kirk getting injured.
That Packers offense is broken. Jordan Love he's not the guy. I'm telling you. I was on the Bengals. Proud of that one. That was a good win, and I think they won outright. We don't even need the points. That was right size, right shape. That was good. Solid analysis, solid pick. You were on the Seahawks with laying the 3 again. Solid there. We both got embarrassed by the Steelers and Rams. Wrong side of the Texans. Yeah, it happens. Anyways, that's week 8. But we got a bit of news to go through. Mark, we're recording the trade deadline, so I thought we'd do a little bit of a dive.
Some big movers and shakers at the trade deadline.
First up, the one that generated the most interest between the two of us, Bears trade a second round pick, and it's going to be we're talking 32, 33, 30, in the 30s is where it's going to be for 9 games of Montez Sweat. What do you make of this?
Honestly, I rather would have had Chase Young for the 3rd round pick that the 49ers sent over.
Okay. I've got a theory here, and you're going to tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Based on everything I've been hearing, the upcoming draft is weaker than they think for edge rushers. It's not going to be there's going to be a couple guys at the top, but even the top prospect is a guy at UCLA, and he carries he had a medical retirement in college. And he's the top edge prospect. It's gonna send a lot of red flags for NFL. He'll get drafted. I don't if he was fully healthy or not overaged, I think he'd be in a bit better spot. But either way, so that's the top guy. Is this a guy with a medical retirement on his resume, and he's overage. I think he's 24. He's almost 25, I think. 24, 25 at least. So when that's the top prospect, I think you can also say it's probably a weak class for edge rushers, and I think they're seeing that. I think the calculus is here, and this only makes sense if they choose to sign Montez Sweat long term. They have to. If you're gonna invest a second round pick for 9 games, you fire Ryan Poles tomorrow. For this dead ass team, you fire Ryan Poles. I'm sorry,
they're more than likely going to sign him to a long term deal.
So this only works if they. So I think they looked at the draft and you know what, we need an edge. We're not going to find one in the draft. Let's put ourselves in a better position to get this guy, that we do think has value and we do think is what could be a solution for the next few years. And that's the calculus I think they made, is that, that guy that they would want in the second round that would play that role probably isn't going to be there for them. So it made more sense to, move on from that pick, get the guy that they think can work for the next few years and move forward with that. I'm a bit surprised because I think they're a bit farther away than a team that should be trading for Montez Sweat should be. If I'm a contender that needs an edge, I'm looking at, I'm thinking about, making a move there. Probably not for a second round pick, but even still. So the only way this works is if they did the draft calculus, understood that the guy that they needed wasn't going to be there, and decided to make this move. That's the only way it worked. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, they needed an edge rusher. Again, I would have preferred Chase Young. I think Chase Young for a third-round pick is a better deal.
I don't know that you can re-sign Chase Young. I think he's determined to hit free agency. I don't know that Montez Sweat is.
But yeah, I mean, I like him. It's definitely a need. I hope it works out better than Chase Claypool did.
He's a better player than Chase Claypool ever was. Josh Dobbs, my guy, Josh Dobbs, going to the Vikings for a 6th-rounder. I mean, he can be a representative NFL quarterback for a team. That kind of tells me that Jaron Hall is in for a rough week.
Yeah.
If the Vikings are have determined that Josh Dobbs is it could, I guess, a 6th-round pick, that could be a depth signing. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to start. But, I think if you're making that move, you're probably expecting Jaron Hall probably isn't the guy to lead this team into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And honestly, technically, they're in play for the division still. I think they're only 2 games in back of Detroit. And that's not at this stage of the season, it's not insurmountable. It's 10 games left.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to Josh Dobbs cutting the Bears defense to pieces.
I think it'll happen with anyone that they put out there.
Yeah.
There was Chase Young traded the 49ers for a 3rd-rounder. You already mentioned you like this one.
Yeah, I mean, the 49ers already had, a great defensive front. It seems like, they're in it to win it. Good for them. I thought that, you mentioned this earlier, that there typically aren't trades within the division. I thought that the Eagles would make a play for Chase Young or Montez Sweat, because they had been looking for an edge rusher.
Yeah. Well, the rumor today was that the Eagles were in on Aaron Donald. And there were also rumors, apparently Aaron Donald ran up to Mike McCarthy after the most recent, the Cowboys game, and was like, hey, if you can get me, I'm available.
Oh, wow.
I was kind of surprised. I thought somebody would be. I guess the Rams are keeping the band together. Trying to see how the season plays out. Yeah, that was the rumor that was floating around, was Aaron Donald to the Eagles, which that would be interesting to add him to that rotation. To add a guy like that to that rotation.
Yeah.
Watch out. Any other closing thoughts on the week or on the trade deadline?
No, I mean, it's nice to see the Bears are in play for something. We'll see how it works out, but overall, kind of
the one deal that that's on the list was the cornerback to the Packers, Rasul Douglas. Is that yeah? I was kind of surprised to see them move on from a defensive back. Also, I was kind of surprised to see that Jalen Jackson didn't move on, because apparently he requested a trade.
Yeah, he did. But it looks like the Bears will do the smart thing and probably sign him to a long-term deal.
Apparently, when it comes to coverage, he's like the 3rd-ranked corner. Like he's grading out as like the 3rd best corner in the league this year.
Yeah,
which makes you wonder, if the Bears actually had a pass rush, what would his numbers, what would he look like? All right, okay, you ready to dive into Week 10?
Let's do it.
All right, I'm fired up for this one. This is a good slate. We got a nice mix here, and also with the quarterback injuries. We've got, there's been what better way to start with discussing quarterback injuries than the Thursday night football game. We've got the Titans at Steelers. Steelers -3. Over under 36. Bets on this one so far. 61% of the ATS bets coming in on the Titans. 73% of the bets coming to the under. And 60% of the money line coming in on the Steelers. Mixed bag here. Are you a believer in Will Levis, Mark?
Well, after what we saw on Sunday, I mean, I guess you have to be. 4 touchdowns, 3 of those DeAndre Hopkins. On the flip side of that, you had Kenny Pickett leave the Steelers game on Sunday. There's still a possibility we might be seeing the Mitch Trubisky Steelers on a Thursday night.
It sounds like he's going to play. Like the audio I heard today was that there's a chance he could miss the game, but he's going to make every effort to be out there, is what it sounds like. I don't know if that's what's odd. Okay, this is in thinking about Kenny Pickett versus Mitch Trubisky. Like, honestly, they're kind of the same guy.
Yeah.
The only difference is I think that there might be a bit of a processing ability difference for I think Kenny Pickett might be a bit quicker in terms of processing a defense than Mitch Trubisky ever was.
Well, the only difference is that Mitch Trubisky is an MVP and Kenny Pickett is not.
True. Very few men have an MVP trophy in their closet. What are you doing for this one?
I like the Steelers -3, and this is whether or not Kenny Pickett plays or Mitch Trubisky plays. Again, Mike Tomlin, the Steelers at home. I still believe in the Steelers defense, even if I don't believe in the Steelers offense. And I think that think Will Levis comes down to earth a little bit. I don't think we're going to see a 4-touchdown game against the Steelers defense.
Okay, because you're going to see a 5-touchdown game against the Steelers. No, I'm joking. I'm on the Titans plus the 3. I think this is a field goal game. I think it's going to be two teams kind of fighting in a phone booth. I could see the final being something like 20-19, something silly like that. I'd rather be, when I think it's going to be that close, I'd rather take the points and lay them. Obviously, that's because I think I would cover. The Steelers have been just, I thought that they were actually going to be really good this year. Like I thought, Kenny Pickett, another full season of Kenny Pickett. I like their ground game. I like their receivers. They can block, they can tackle. That defense I believe in, but it's just really inconsistent. And that's not to say that Will Levis is any better, but I feel like the Titans can do a lot of the same things, and I think I believe in Will Levis a bit more than I believe in 80% of Kenny Pickett in 2023. I think this is going to be a close game. It's probably going to be field goal or less is my guess, and I want the points. So I'm going plus 3 for this one. I do kind of like the over for this one too. I think 36 is a bit low for this.
Yeah, I agree.
So
considering Will Levis is going to score 5 touchdowns.
Yes, 2 of them rushing. All right, this week. So Sunday games, we head to Germany for an 8:30 a.m. Central Time kickoff. Are you going to be awake for this one?
I'll be up.
Really?
Yeah.
Better man. I'm probably going to sleep through the first half. We've got Chiefs versus Dolphins. I don't know. Is I guess the Chiefs are technically the home team, but it's in Frankfurt. So
yes. Yeah.
I'm still looking forward to seeing the first shot of Andy Reid. Eating some good sausage. I feel like this is an Andy Reid eating tour. Is kind of how I picture it. So. Either way, Chiefs -2 is the spread. Over under 51. Let's take a look at the percentages. So far, 78% of the spread bets coming in on the Chiefs, 75% of the bets coming into the over, and 52% of the money line bets coming in on the Dolphins. Okay, for this one, honestly, I'm give me the Dolphins plus the 2 and the money line. If this is actually like in Arrowhead, I would probably be on the Chiefs. But the fact that it's like neutral site game, I'm taking who I think the better team is. I know the Chiefs have improved the defense. It's not the Achilles heel this year. I don't think it matters against this Dolphins offense. I think they can move the ball against just about anybody. There's just too many weapons. Whether it's Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, the other, and the running backs, Mustard, Wilson, Mustard, Ahmed, the other guy. There's too many options, too many weapons. I think Tua has command of the offense. It's clear that this team is bought in. On the offensive side of the ball, they've definitely bought in. And I think they can do enough to slow down a Chiefs offense that's actually looked pretty poor this year. If you're able to limit Travis Kelce or take him away, they really can't do anything. I mean, Pacheco has had a decent season so far, but they can't. They don't have the playmakers on the outside to really hurt anybody. I feel it's not. This is not the dynamic Chiefs offense that we're used to seeing with some of the weapons that they've had there in the past. It just isn't. Who knew that losing Sammy Watkins would cause something like this to happen?
I think it was Tyreek Hill that they lost.
Well, I was.
I know.
Either way, I just think the Dolphins are just the better team, and I think it's the case of a wrong team favored. Give me the Dolphins plus the points. Sprinkle that money line.
I'm going with the Chiefs -2.
Okay.
You're right that the Chiefs, particularly Patrick Mahomes, has made a lot of mistakes so far this year. It seems like he's been throwing more interceptions. To be fair, he did have, according to reports, a flu last week. So we don't know how much that impacted his performance. It's a shame this is a Germany game that I have to get up early.
I know
for.
this should be like a prime time.
Yeah.
Like if this is a Monday Night Football game, I mean, the numbers it would do would be insane.
Yeah.
We'd be all about it.
I'm gonna go with the coaching angle here on the Chiefs. Think that
these are probably like the two NFL coaches with the most different body types in the league.
Yes.
Not?
Yes.
You got like the the tiny man Mike McDaniel versus the big fat guy and Andy Reid. How many Mike McDaniels do you think you could fit in Andy Reid? Is it 3?
At least.
Yes, agree.
Maybe 4 or 5.
Potentially.
But yeah, I think coaching is a determining factor here. I'm going with the Chiefs -2.
I haven't seen Mike McDaniel be that bad. I think he's been actually a pretty good coach, for a guy who's constantly baked. So we're going to go from Frankfurt, cruising right into the noon games. First on my list, we got Cardinals at Browns. Browns -8. Over under at 37.5. Numbers on this guy. 84% of the bets in the spread coming in on the Browns. 94% of the bets coming in the under. And 89% of the money line bets coming in on the Browns. Okay, so Josh Dobbs out of the picture. They're starting Clayton. The Cardinals are starting Clayton Tune.
Yes.
So we've got rookie Clayton Tune starting on the road against one of the against a defense that we thought was one of the better defenses in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the Browns, lay the points. I don't love it. It's a terrible. It's an East Coast. It's a West Coast to East Coast early game. Don't love that for the Cardinals. Rookie quarterback starting on the road. Love that even less. And the Cardinals really aren't a very good team. The Browns, I think they can do enough. If they can get that ground game going, it's gonna be a really long afternoon for the Cardinals. And I think the defense. The defense has not looked great for the past couple of weeks. I think they're better than their numbers, but I can't imagine Clayton Tune is able to do much against that defense. I really can't.
No, I'm also going with the Browns -8. Now it's worth noting that apparently Deshaun Watson took last week off to get ready for this week. We haven't had, we're recording this on Tuesday. We'll probably see on Wednesday the official statement. But the idea being is that I think they expect him to play this game. Whether or not he does or not, we'll have to see.
I still think,
even if PJ Walker starts, I still like the Browns.
I like the Browns more with PJ Walker. All right. Yeah, Deshaun Watson. I just got to shake. I hate to say it. If there was a guy who you thought was going to be a success from college, it was that guy. Because he had the leadership, you saw the leadership traits, you saw the physical tools, you saw the ability, you saw the processing, and he could run. He checked like every single box for, like what the quarterback of the future is supposed to look like. And he turns out to just be a guy who loves massages. I think the Browns are better off with PJ Walker. They're probably going to, probably going to see Deshaun Watson at some point. We'll see what the excuse is this week. I think we're going to get a last minute excuse here.
Yeah, if he doesn't play this week, then things are going to be highly suspect going forward.
I think, with him, they're always kind of suspect, I feel.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with him. I don't feel great about it. I'm betting more on the Browns defense and the running game than I am on the quarterback. And
on Clayton Tune not being very good.
I don't think Clayton Tune is very good. Vikings at Falcons. Falcons -5 is the spread. Over under 37.5. 74% of the bets coming on the spread coming in the Falcons. 88% of the over-under bets coming in the under, and 69% of the bets on the money line coming in on the Falcon. Falcons have been one of the teams that's kind of been one of our Achilles heels this year. What are you thinking with this game?
Well, both teams have issues at quarterback. The Falcons last week, I think Desmond Ridder, did he get benched or was he injured?
Concussion protocol.
Concussion, okay. So they're going to, typically, I would expect him not to start. I would expect to see the Taylor Heineke Falcons this week. And on the Vikings side, I would be surprised if Josh Dobbs winds up playing this week.
I think they've already announced that Jaron Hall is the guy for this week.
Right, yeah, they did. So I would expect Hall to start for the Vikings. So this gives us a pretty unique matchup here in terms of the quarterbacks.
Jaron Hall versus Taylor Heineke. You've got, a 6th-round draft pick versus a journeyman.
Yeah. That being said, I'm going with the Falcons -5. I'm really just chalking this up more to Heineke being, a bit more of a seasoned quarterback at this point. Yep. And Hall being relatively inexperienced.
All right, I'm changing. I initially had the Vikings +5, and rookie quarterback on the road in his first game. I kind of like. I think I might like Jaron Hall a bit better than I like Clayton Tune, but still, I'm not gonna take the chance. It's the Falcons at home. They've been good at home.
Yeah.
I think that Falcons ground game can give the Vikings a bit of a problem. I'm going to roll with the Falcons -5. I kind of like that Vikings defense standing up against the Falcons. That's the only thing giving me pause. Yeah, I'm not taking the rookie. I'm not going with the rookie quarterbacks on the road. I'm just not doing it. Meanwhile, I picked Will Levis. Well, but then we saw him actually have a good start. Next up on the list, Seahawks at Ravens. Ravens -5.5 is the line. Over under at 43. Numbers on this one: 53% of the bets in the spread coming in the Ravens. 67% of the bets coming in the over, and 66% of the money line bets coming in on the Raven. We've got Geno Smith going West Coast to East Coast for an early game. Okay. The Seahawks are just a weird team to figure. I think they're obviously a better team at home. I don't really trust them on the road. I really don't trust them against a good defense. And I think the Ravens can do more than enough, to cover the number. I kind of like the Ravens to roll in this one. Also, last time we saw the Ravens at home, I think they put a beat down on the Lions. So either way, I really like the home spot for the Ravens. I don't like the West Coast to East Coast for the Seahawks, and it's a non-conference road spot for the Seahawks. Those typically don't go very well. I'll lay the 5.5. Stick with the Ravens in this one. Again, I kind of like the over. I kind of like the over here.
Yeah, 43 seems a bit low.
Yeah, it does for these two teams.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like the Ravens -5.5. Seahawks got a good win last week at home. They have the Commanders coming up at home the week after, so that should probably be a win for them. But yeah, I like the Ravens at home for this one.
Okay, moving on. Next we have Bears at Saints. Saints -7 is the line. Over under 41.5. Numbers for this one: 68% of the bets in the spread coming in on the Saints, 51% of the bets coming into the over, and 86% of the money line bets coming in on the Saints. Both of these teams are 2-5-1 ATS this year. One of them will either be 3-5-1 or 2-5-2. Give me the Saints. This Bears defense has no pass rush, hence the need for Montez Sweat. I don't know if they're going to be able to turn him around, get him acclimated enough to make a real impact on the game. He'll probably play, is my guess, but I don't know that he's going to be out there as much as he would be, if this was a regular week. So I don't think the Bears can solve Alvin Kamara. I don't think they can solve Chris Olave, especially without a pass rush. Derek Carr's going to be able to sit back and just kind of pick him apart the same way we saw, every other quarterback that they've kind of faced pick him apart. Yeah. And on offense, this is a bad matchup for, the Saints defense is a nightmare matchup for the Bears offense. Bloom is off the road with Tyson Bagent. He's a guy. I do think he's going to stay in the league. I think he's going to get a chance to have a career, which again is kind of unprecedented for a Division II guy. This is already, it's an impressive story on that alone, that this guy who was playing for nobody had ever heard of is able to have an actual NFL career. However, probably needs to be on the bench, not starting ahead of Justin Fields. Hopefully, this is the last week that we'll have the Tyson Bagent experience. But give me the Saints, lay the points. Let's go.
Yeah, I like the Saints -7. I still a big believer in the Saints defense, not so much a big believer in Derek Carr. Last week Taysom Hill I think got 2 touchdowns, so he was kind of doing most of the work last week. But yeah, the secret Bagent's cover's been blown. We know he's just a guy.
He's a guy.
I might even lock up the Saints -7.
I'm definitely thinking about it. Actually, I've got a couple other locks that I kind of like. Okay, next up, Buccaneers at Texans. Line on this one, Texans -2.5. Over under 40. Numbers for this one: 55% of the spread bets coming on the Buccaneers, 73% of the bets in the over, and 68% of the bets in the money line coming in on the Bucs. What are you thinking here for this? What's the calculus for these two teams? I mean, you got the Bucs, who are oddly enough still in the mix for that division, and you got the Texans, who just lost to the Panthers.
Yeah, I think the Texans get back on track at home. I like the Texans minus the 2.5. The Baker Bucs have kind of shown themselves to be the Baker Bucs in recent weeks.
Covered last week.
Yeah.
At my backdoor cover.
That's true.
They came through for me.
I can't argue with that. Baker has been a master at backdoor covers.
Good teams win. Great teams cover.
But I like the Texans a bit more here.
Okay. I'm on the Bucs and sprinkle the money line. Bucs plus 2.5. Sprinkle that money line is where I'm at. I just think the Bucs are the better team. Is really what it comes down to. Of all the games for CJ Stroud to lay an egg, it came against the Panthers. That makes no sense to me. I mean, he should have carved up that Panthers defense, and he didn't. So my concern is that this might be part of a trend. I don't know if it's just rookie quarterback starting on the road or not. Either way, I think the Baker Bucs are probably the better roster. I think they're the better team overall. I would feel better if they knew how to run the ball. Like if they, I think they're slowly figuring out that they're really not a run first team. That they're a pass. They're a pass first team, just kind of a default because they can't run the ball, which is really odd for an NFL franchise. Yeah, give me the Baker Bucs. I want to see Baker slinging it. Like the matchup against the Texans defense. And I kind of like that this is a matchup for the Bucs defense. I think they did a lot of good things too. So yeah, give me the Bucs plus the 3. Sprinkle the money line. Rams at Packers. Packers -3. What? How can you favor this Packers team against anyone after what we've seen for the past 3 weeks? Over under is 40. 64% of the bets against the spread coming in on the Packers. 79% of the bets coming into the under, and 77% of the money line bets coming in on the Rams. Mixed bag here. Mark, what say you?
Well, it's worth noting that I believe Matthew Stafford injured a thumb or his hand in last week's game. So the Rams have signed John Wolford. I believe he was off the Buccaneers practice squad this week. I think that's why the Packers might be favored here, because I think they're unsure as to who the starter is.
All right, I can't. I was assuming Matthew Stafford was going to try to give it a go, but I'll switch my pick. If it's the Brett Rippon Rams or the John Wolford Rams, give me the Packers minus. This Packers team is such a mess. It's just not it's not a great. The defense is good enough. That offense is just misery.
It says that while the Rams were expected to sign QB John Wolford off the Bucs practice squad, they're informed tonight that Wolford prefers to stay in Tampa Bay with the Bucs.
Good for him.
So it could be the Brett Rippon show.
Got to be the Brett Rippon Rams then, right?
Yeah, if Matthew Stafford can't go. So this actually makes for a very unique matchup.
The Jordan Love Packers versus the Brett Rippon Rams.
Yeah. I mean, if Matthew Stafford starts, then I would reserve my right to go with the Rams. But since the QB situation with the Rams is so up in the air, I'm going to go with the Packers -3.
It's a UCL sprain in the thumb in his throwing hand. My guess is he probably sits. So I'm and the line is kind of telling you it's the Brett Rippon Rams that they're expecting to see. The Jordan Love Packers are pretty gross to begin with. Playing against a Rams team that has Brett Rippon at the helm, I don't really want to watch a second of that game if I don't have to. Oh wow, we've got quite the matchup next. The last afternoon, the last afternoon game on the list. We've got what I'm referring to as the Cold War. Commies versus Patriots. Commanders at Patriots. Patriots -3.5. Over under at 40.5. The analysis, the handicap here is actually pretty easy. Okay, I'll do the numbers first, but the handicap here looks pretty easy to me. 57% of the spread bets coming in on the Patriots. 74% of the bets coming in the under, and 58% of the money line bets coming in on the Commanders. I'm just going to tell that 58% of people who bet money on the Commanders' money line, you've wasted your money. Congratulate you. I don't know how much you've spent, but you've just flushed it down the toilet. Yeah, kiss that money goodbye. The Patriots are run as a professional team. Okay, they might know they're out of it, but Bill Belichick has that organization structured that his guys are not going to quit on him. If they do quit, they're not going to be playing for him. I know they're 2-6 straight up. They have a worse record than the Commanders. I think and this is a Commanders team that just traded their 2 best edge rushers. That defense is probably is going to be closer to quit than play hard, and that offense is really nothing special, and it's banged up. It's a little bit banged up. Give me the Patriots at home. Patriots -3.5. Patriots always win the Cold War. That's my analysis. Mark, what say you?
I like the Patriots -3.5. The Commanders have not looked good so far this year, and now they've traded away their 2 best defensive players. I think this one's pretty easy. Yeah, give me the Patriots.
Except the first afternoon game we've got Colts at Panthers. Line on this one is Colts -2.5, over under 44. Numbers coming in, 67% of the bets coming in on the Colts, 70% of the bets in the under, and 92% of the money line bets coming in on the Colts. Gardner Minshew on the road. What say you?
I like the Panthers to win 2 in a row. Give me the Panthers.
Your mind.
Give me the Panthers plus.
This is okay. This is the Mark II cute special for the week. Number one, I still like the Colts defense. I think they can stand up, especially against Bryce Young. I don't care if it's at home. They acted like they won the Super Bowl last week when they won their first game. So this is kind of I feel like this is kind of a letdown spot after the Super Bowl win last week for the Panthers. The only question is, do you think they're going to hang a banner for their historic win?
No, there's not going to be a banner.
They should probably have there's got to be a ceremony of some type.
I think the Panthers are going to achieve what the Bears cannot, which is winning 2 in a row.
I don't see it happening. I'm sorry. I think this Panthers team might be the worst roster in the league, Bears included. And I think the Colts are frisky. They're 3-5 straight up. They need to get a couple wins, but they could be in the mix for the final playoff spot. Yeah, give me. I'll lay the 2.5. Give me the Colts. Yeah, that's I just a better roster. Trust the Panthers at all. I don't think they're well coached. I don't think they're talented. They managed to slay a bum last week.
Well, there's one thing that you're overlooking.
What am I overlooking here?
The Frank Reich revenge game. Last year, Frank Reich was fired by the Colts. He's going to get his revenge.
All right, moving on. Giants at Raiders. Raiders -2. Over under 37.5. I can't believe anybody is betting on this. 54% of the bets in the spread coming in on the Giants. 88% of the bets coming in the under. And 77% of the money line bets coming in on the Giants. Okay, and this is the Giants team that just traded Leonard Williams. They just lost a key, one of the things that was making that defense special. They just traded away. I think the Raiders can run the ball. Also, it's a bit up in the air. I guess Daniel Jones is expected to return this week.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much confirmed. He
let's say the neck starts acting up in the first quarter. Who do they put in? Tommy DeVito.
He's the backup now because Tyrod was in the hospital.
Tyrod had to go to the hospital. Talk about your cursed player. Gee, poor guy. He's just had a cursed career, like up and down.
Yeah, he's been snake bitten.
This is more of a bet on the Raiders' run game than anything else. I can't wait to avoid this game. Although I will say, if this game was broadcast in like the middle of July, I would watch. I would watch every single play. Give me the Raiders -2. What's your thought?
I like the Giants +2.
Lock it up.
Let's not go that far.
No.
Yeah, the Raiders look really terrible on Monday night. Jimmy G didn't seem like he wanted to be there at all. Devontae's pissed off. He only got one catch last week. Yeah, I think Dan Jones coming back to the Giants might give them a spark. Yeah, the Raiders seem lost. I don't know if
the Giants don't seem much better.
No, they don't. But I mean, I'll be surprised if Josh McDaniels is still coaching the Raiders next year.
Okay, next up on the list, moving along. Here's a game that we can actually watch in the late slate. Cowboys at Eagles. Eagles -3. Over under 46. Numbers on this one: 70% of the bets on the spread coming in on the Eagles, 66% of the bets on the under, and 60% of money line bets coming in on the Cowboys. Is there a case for the Cowboys here?
There is. I mean, they look good against the Rams last week. I mean, they looked like the best team in the NFL again last week. The Eagles at home, you can't go against the Eagles at home.
The Cowboys are a bum slayer.
That's true.
That's really what they kind of are. I mean, I really feel that the Cowboys are really this year's bum slayer. If you just look at like the teams they've beaten and the teams that they've struggled against, okay, so you started off the season with mollywopping the poor Giants, ending their season before it started. Win against the Jets. Again, it's the Zach Wilson Jets, and the week after they lost Aaron Rodgers. A weird loss to the Cardinals that kind of had you shaking your head. Mollywopping the Patriots, getting mollywopped by the 49ers in a game that was over before it started. Edging one out against the Chargers, a team that can't wait to give away a game. Beating up on the poor Rams. Yeah, they're a bum slayer. That's a bum slayer resume is what that is. And sadly, they're not playing a bum on Sunday. It's on the road, check against the Cowboys. And the Eagles just, I hate this, I think they've got two legitimate MVP candidates on that offense, and A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. Mm-hmm. And that defense stands up. They've got depth up front. It's just a deep, good roster, and they're probably the best team in the league, if not close to it. So give me the Eagles -3. I don't think the Cowboys are gonna be able to move the ball nearly as effectively as they have been against some of the bums, and I don't really see them being able to stop the Eagles, through the air or on the ground. I think I think this is going to be a lot more. I think we're going to see a bit of a repeat of the 49ers game, if I'm honest. Eagles -3 on the same page.
Yeah, Eagles -3. They're at home. I wouldn't bet against Eagles at home this year.
Okay, so I'm kind of surprised they're putting this game on Sunday night. I think this would be a nice one to it's a good game to have. You're probably going to get a feel good moment, but you don't want the entire country watching this game in case something else bad happens. So, and I hope nothing does. I'm praying that we have a normal high quality football game between two really good teams. I'm a bit nervous of seeing this game again in prime time. So let's just hope that nothing weird happens. Bengals -2.5, over under at 49. Numbers on this one: 74% of the bets on the spread coming in on the Bengals. The line's actually flipped. It was initially Buffalo favored by 1.5. Now it's Bengals -2.5. 83% of the bets on the total coming in the over, and 69% of the bets coming in. 69% of the money line bets coming in on the Bengals. Mark, what are you doing on Sunday night? Is it win one for DeMar?
That's kind of the way I'm leaning. I'm going with the Bills plus the 2.5. The Bengals look good last week. They seem like their regular selves. Like they've look kind of like they're back on track now. Like Joe Burrow looked healthy.
Defense looked good too.
Yeah.
Against the definitely not concussed Brock Purdy.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, give me the Bills. I mean, this is assuming that Josh Allen doesn't throw 5 interceptions during the game. But give me the DeMar Hamlin redemption story.
Is he seen the field this year?
He has, but it's been very limited.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me. I like this one for the Bengals. I'll lay the points. Lay the 2.5. Give me the Bengals. I think they're the hotter team. Don't trust Josh Allen. I don't think he's fully healthy. I think it's a shoulder, and I don't think he can do the things that he needs to do to make that offense special. Also, I think that defense is still kind of banged up, and the Bengals just have too many weapons up and down that offense. For that beat up Bills defense to be able to manage. So I'll lay the 2.5. I kind of like the under on this one. I think 49 points just is a bit beefy. Give me the Bengals, and I'm close to locking that. And then we end the week. Okay, so if we get a football meal on Sunday, this is definitely a game. Again, if this is on in like June, Mark, we would watch every single play and love it.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got Chargers at Jets. Chargers -3, over under at 41.5. Numbers here, 62% of the bets in the spread coming in on the Chargers, 80% of the bets coming in on the under, and 71% of the money line bets coming in on the Chargers. So we just got done watching the Chargers beat up on the Tyson Bagent Bears. What are you doing with this game? And we just saw the Jets pull out a clutch overtime road win against the Giants. So what are you doing on Monday night?
I'm going with the Jets +3.
State your case for the Jets. Sure.
So the Chargers look good against a bad team last week on Sunday night. The Chargers I think are still a team with a talented roster that's underperforming. With the Jets, I think it comes down to I think with the Aaron Rodgers injury, most teams would just go into a tailspin and never recover. But the Jets somehow have won, a handful of games, and along the way, Zach Wilson has looked a little bit better. He
looked better last week, did he?
He made throws when he needed to make them.
Okay, he made one throw at the end of that game.
Yes,
and that was about it. So, I guess making the completion 47% completion percentage last week.
They have a great run game. They do. They have a great run game. They have a great run game. A very good defense. Overall, I think coaching and the talent is better on the Jets. Give me the Jets +3.
Give me the Chargers -3. I don't love it. I'm going to bet it. I think the Chargers can score if they need to. I think they can move the ball if they need to. That offense is a lot better. I like that offense a lot more with Austin Eckler than without. I don't love that this is outdoors for them. I think that's that works against them. It is West Coast to East Coast, but it's a night game, so it's not quite as bad. And the body clock isn't quite as screwed up as for like an early start. I'm betting on the better roster, better quarterback, and I think the Chargers defense can do enough against that offensive line. Robert Saleh was talking about how he wanted reinforcements. He wanted reinforcements for the offensive line if they could trade it, but you didn't really see any offensive linemen get traded, so I don't think anything was available. That offensive line for the Jets isn't great. They can do enough on the ground. But when it comes to protecting Zach Wilson and also the decision-making by Zach Wilson, I don't want to be, I don't want to be taking those points. Although I will say the coaching matchup, give me Robert Saleh versus Brendan Staley all day. That's a coaching mismatch. But I think the overall talent of the Chargers wins out. I think they cover this, and I think they win pretty easily, if I'm honest. So give me the Chargers -3. Let's go. Okay, we need locks and dogs for week 9.
I can go first again.
Do you want to go first? Okay, if you want to go first, go first.
I want to lock up the Saints -7, and my dog. Panthers, Jets, who's it going to be? Give me the Panthers, my dog, +2.5.
Let me lock up the Colts. And my bonus lock is the Bengals. If I'm giving out a second one, it'd be I'd go Colts -2.5 or Bengals -2.5. And my dog, I gotta go through my dogs here to see who I pick. I could do Bucks. Give me the Dolphins plus the 2 and the money line. Small dog. If I had to give a bonus one, it would be the Bucks. Again, plus the 3 and the money line. Actually, there you go. That's the early Sunday parlay. Team Florida. So just a quick summary. My lock: Colts -2.5. Extra lock: Bengals -2.5. My dog for the week is Dolphins +2. A small dog, Dolphins +2.
Yeah.
But extra dog, Bucks +3. So again, I'll go with a pair of small dogs as opposed to one big dog. So if you want to do a quick review, what do you got? What's your lock again?
Lock is Saints -7.
And your dog?
Panthers +2.5.
So we got a lock and dog battle. I love it. I love it. That's quality. In that case, Mark, good job by you. This has been the Locks and Dogs podcast for week 9 of the NFL season. Check out locksanddogs.com for the latest gambling picks and news. Hit that subscribe button to get notifications on the latest episode. And please leave us a review. We'd love to see 5 stars, but we'd just like to hear from you. We'd love the feedback. For Locks and Dogs, this is Matt.
This is Mark.
And we'll see you next week.